hepatitis community here in Philadelphia. My name is Brian Ward, and I am an inpatient doctor at University of Pennsylvania, where I treat very sick patients, but also I'm an outpatient doctor at Prevention Point Philadelphia, the city's syringe exchange program. And in my role as an outpatient doctor at Prevention Point, which is really the relevant thing here today, and also is what I'm most passionate about, I certainly have screened and diagnosed probably thousands of cases of hepatitis since I've been there in 2002, all of which are preventable and now also treatable diseases, but they are preventable. In my role, my other role, as a hospitalist at University of Pennsylvania, I take care of really sick folks on the hospital wards and sick folks in the ICUs. So I get to see this disease, hepatitis, and what it results in, which is cirrhosis of the liver. I get to see this disease from both ends of the spectrum. And I don't want to bring the feeling and mood of the council and the collective folks here down today, but I think it's really important that we talk about, and I just overview the seriousness of hepatitis because it leads to cirrhosis, end-stage liver disease, and death. Now, I want to paint a picture for you of some of this suffering. Now, and I apologize in advance. It's not a pretty sight. And it's not easy to think about. But I think it's important that we know what's going on here. So, what happens? As the liver fails, hepatitis moves on to cirrhosis, and from there can lead to liver cancer. But the cirrhosis, which is very prevalent in people with hepatitis, causes a lot of suffering and eventually can lead to death, and often does lead to death. So what happens is your liver stops detoxifying your body. Your liver detoxifies the body, takes out the bad things from the body. So what happens when it stops working? You start to get groggy, cloudy, you start to get confused. You also feel weak and tired all of the time. You feel nausea, which may become constant, and you just aren't able, because of the weakness and fatigue, to do things that you like to do, to interact with your family. And the mental confusion that comes from that makes it particularly frustrating both for the patient and the family because they can't talk to each other. The cirrhotic liver, I like to tell patients and families that the cirrhotic liver becomes like a clogged oil filter. It's sitting there in the belly, blood goes to it, can't get through, pressure builds up behind, fluid leaks into the belly. Probably most of you have seen somebody with cirrhosis, where the belly gets really big. All that fluid in the belly pushes on your lungs, making it very difficult to breathe. Pushes on your stomach, making it very difficult to eat. That aside from the fact that you're not hungry because your appetite's taken away from the toxins. The liver also makes many of the important chemicals and proteins that your body needs. Perhaps most notable among these for end-stage liver disease is it makes the proteins that make your blood clot. If your blood doesn't clot, you bleed repeatedly, and you bleed in very large amounts, requiring multiple blood transfusions. So what does this mean practically speaking? What I see in the hospital, taking care of patients again and again, because they come back again and again. This means that I see patients who become rail thin because of the malnutrition, because they can't eat. I see their belly becoming large. From the patient's perspective, they stand out in the crowd because their belly's big and they turn bright yellow. You feel bad overall, you're confused, you can't think much of the time, you vomit blood, and you bleed from your body a lot and multiple times. And this doesn't happen, I want to repeat, not just once, but it happens over and over. So I see patients in the hospital again and again. And I've seen many patients and their families try to deal with this suffering. And it saddens and discourages me. The family is often at bedside wringing their hands But it gets particularly frustrating because the patient is often too confused to talk with the family about these things. Now, I've been treating inpatients, sick inpatient liver patients, through residency and in my years since becoming an attending physician. Initially, I was just shucks, sad and discouraged. And I was sad and discouraged for a couple of reasons. One, you know, most doctors go into medicine because they don't like seeing people suffer and they want to alleviate suffering. And here was a group of patients that it's really hard to alleviate their suffering, and it's going to progress anyway. Second, I knew there wasn't much I can do. Some people come into the hospital, we have fixes. You have bad heart disease, we'll get you a bypass, you'll be, in many instances, all better. That isn't the case for end-stage liver disease. I can give blood transfusions when they come in with bleed after bleed. I can patch things up. I can give them medicines for nausea. But I can't do anything that changes the overall course of the disease and changes the fact that they keep coming back into the hospital. Over time, though, I have to say, this sadness with frustration intensified by me knowing that advanced liver disease from hepatitis in particular is preventable. And in its early stages, it's often treatable and curable. Over the years, though, patient by patient, family by family, I stopped being just sad and discouraged, and I started getting doggone mad and really pissed off. We've got the ability to test people early on, find out that they have disease, and treat them early on. Because even with the wonderful new advances in treatment, particularly in Hep C, where we have cure rates now over 90%, you still can't treat an end-stage cirrhotic or someone with liver cancer. So this circles back to the work that I do as an outpatient doctor and member of the Board of Prevention Clinic Philadelphia. First and foremost, we want to prevent hepatitis in the first place. We exchange clean syringes for dirty syringes, we dispose of the dirty syringes, and we vaccinate people for Hep A and Hep B. Second, we screen people for hepatitis B and C, and you can't get early treatment if you don't know you got the doggone disease. Many places, including Prevention Point, do screen, but we need to screen at more places, and we need to screen more people. And one obvious place that this screening should take place, as was mentioned before, is at the district health centers. I regularly refer people to district health centers, but they do not screen for hepatitis most of the time. Third, for those people that do have hepatitis, we find we need to make treatment more accessible and much less expensive. All of these things are very important, and I'm sorry if painting the picture of the end-stage cirrhotic is kind of, well, it's just sad and bad. But I think it's important to know that we're not dealing here with a flu vaccine and the flu. We're not dealing with a cold. We're dealing with these hepatitis viruses, end up giving you cirrhosis, make you suffer, and make you die in most instances. And that's what we want to prevent. And thank you so much for having us here today. I really appreciate it.